Hello everyone, this is Math 0028, Section 1.1, and these are the U-try problems. So we got 0028, 1.1. Alright, so we are about to get started here. Alright, so this is just to help you check and see if the problems that you stopped at they aren't on the regular lesson video. So these are just the problems you're supposed to work on your own. So letter A says, is negative 6 a solution of the equation 4x plus 3 equals 2x minus 9? So what you're trying to do here is see if negative 6 is a solution. So you're going to take negative 6 and you're going to plug it in everywhere, that's a bad arrow, everywhere there is an x, okay? So we're going to have 4 times negative 6 plus 3 equals 2 times negative 6 minus 9. So I just plugged it into the equation everywhere there was an x. So on the left side we're going to multiply first. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24 plus 3. Okay, and then negative 24 plus 3, you have to subtract there, keep the bigger sign. That would be negative 21. Now on the other side, excuse me, you're going to multiply first. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 minus 9. So you're looking at those, they're both negative. Remember, the sign goes with the number behind it. So negative 12 and negative 9, you're going to add and keep the sign, which also gives you negative 21. So your answer is yes. Oh, that's going to come up again. Sorry about that. All right, so the answer is yes for letter A. Now, part B, what does everybody freak out about this one? Yeah, the fraction, okay? Is 3/4 a solution of the equation 8x minus 1 equals 12x plus 3? So don't be afraid of fractions. They're tiny, okay? You can squish them. So what you're going to do is we're going to put 3/4 everywhere there's an x. So since I have to multiply 8 times 3/4, I'm going to put 8 over 1 times 3/4, so that's the 8x part, minus 1 equals, I'm going to put 12 over 1 times 3/4, that's x, plus 3. So on the left hand side, when we have multiplication here, I can cancel the 4 and the 8. When you multiply fractions, you can cancel. So if we could divide by 4, that leaves 1, and 8 divided by 4 leaves 2. So you're looking at 2 times 3 on top is 6 over 1, which is just 6. So we have 6 minus 1, which is 5. That's what we get for the left-hand side. Now, on the other side, we're going to multiply 12 times 3/4. So I can cancel the 4 and the 12 by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So on top we have 3 times 3 is 9 plus 3. So over here on the left we got 5, and 9 plus 3 over here is 12. Well, those are not equal to each other, so the answer is no. Alright, now the next ones we're going to look at solving these equations. So we have 10 plus m equals 3. We're trying to get the m by itself, so we're going to get rid of the 10. We're going to do that by subtracting 10 from both sides. So the 10's cancel, the m comes down, and on the other side 3 and negative 10, let's see, we want to not show this again. Okay, hopefully that won't come up anymore. 3 and negative 10 is going to give you negative 7. And you can check all of these equations by putting the negative 7 back in your answer, back in for your variable, all the way through, and check and make sure it works. Okay? I'm not going to check them because I'm lazy, so you'll have to do that on your own. Sorry about that. Now, excuse me, letter D, we have negative 7 equals negative 2 plus x. So to get the x by itself, we need to get rid of that negative 2 that's on the same side. So since it's negative, I'm going to use a positive. I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and negative 7 plus 2 gives me negative 5. The 2's cancel, and you have x comes down. So when you're doing these equations, it is worth the 2 seconds of your life to make sure that those two terms, those 2's cancel back over here, that the 10's cancel. If they don't, that's telling you that you're doing the wrong thing. So you're screwing it up. So those have to cancel. That tells you you're on the right track. Now, on letter E, we have fractions again. So we need to get rid of 3/4. Since it's addition with the 3/4, I'm going to use subtraction. Now, the only nice thing about this problem is that when you get over here on the right-hand side, you have common denominators. That's the only good thing about this problem. So the C comes down. The 3/4, those do cancel. Now over here, since they're both over 4, we can go ahead and add the numerators. I have a -1 and a -3, so you add and keep the sign, which would be -4 over 4. So C would equal, you have to reduce that, -1. So you need to make sure that if you can reduce any of your fractions or if it divides out evenly, that you go ahead and simplify that. All right, letter F. X plus 2/3 equals 3/4. So that we need to get rid of this 2/3. So I'm going to, since it's addition, I'm going to subtract it. Now this one is kind of a pain because we don't have a common denominator here. So we bring down the x, that comes down, the 2/3 are gone. So we have to think about what's the common denominator between 4 and 3. It would be 12. So we're going to set that up as our common denominator. And then you go back and you say, okay, 4 times what gives me 12? That would be times 3. So we have to multiply the top times 3. So 3 times 3, we get 9. So 9/12 is your equivalent fraction there. Then come down to the second fraction, the bottom one. We said, okay, 3 times what gives me 12? Times 4. So it's the same as the top part. If you multiply by 4 on the bottom, you have to multiply by 4 on the top, by the numerator. So -2 times 4, remember different signs is always going to be a negative, you get -8. Now look at your numerators. You have 9 and -8. They're different, so you subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, and you would get 1/12. And it would be positive because the 9 was bigger. Okay, letter G starts to have, these equations are where you're using multiplication and division. So you're still trying to get the y by itself. You're going to divide, since that's multiplication, you're going to divide by -4. So remember, when you're using multiplication and division, you have to use the same sign of the number that you're trying to get rid of, because those two -4's cancel to a positive y, which is what you want. And over here, -32 divided by -4 would be +8. On letter H, we're trying to get rid of -5. So since that's multiplication, you have to use division. So you're going to divide by -5 on both sides. Those cancel. And x equals, this is where everybody has a hard time, you can divide by -5. That's okay. 0 divided by -5 is just plain old 0. Okay. I and J, this is where we need to look at using some reciprocals, especially on I. We want to get rid of the -2/5. So when you have a fraction right beside the variable, what you have to do is multiply both sides by the reciprocal. You're going to flip it. So the 2/5, that's what the -2/5, that's what we're going to flip. We're going to multiply -5 over 2 times -2/5 m. And then do the same thing on the other side. -5 over 2 times -6 over 7. Okay, so on the left side, everything is going to cancel all to ones. And remember, check your signs. A negative times a negative is going to give me a positive, so I get just m on the left side. If everything doesn't cancel over here by the variable, you're screwing up. Okay, so make sure that all cancels. Now over here on the right hand side, we can cancel, but before we cancel, we want to figure out the sign. Okay, remember, hey baby, what's your sign? All right, what's a negative times a negative? It's going to be a positive. Now I can cancel the 2 and the 6. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 will go into 6 3 times. So, and I don't even have to put a negative 3 there. I mean, if you want to, you can, but I've already figured out my sign, so I don't have to worry about it. On top, we have 5 times 3, which would be 15. And on the bottom, we have 1 times 7, which gives you 7. So we just end up with 15 sevenths. And you can leave it as an improper fraction. That's fine. Now, J, there's a shortcut on this one. Whenever it's in this format where you have a variable all by itself on top and the coefficient is just a 1 on the variable, you can multiply these two numbers together as long as it's in this same type of format, and that will give you your answer. Okay, so we're going to start and we're going to say 2.9 times a negative 7.8. So a positive times a negative is always going to give you a negative. All right, and now I just had it on my calculator. That's what I get for using an iPad instead of a stupid regular calculator. I can't get it to work. Okay, negative 22.62. And that's what z would equal. So you just have to multiply those two other numbers. And I think that's it. Yep, that is it for 1.1 U-Tries.